Well, I'm going to have to actually edit this video together a little bit, but this is going to be my final video about the power consumption of the GTX 480 4-way SLI. You can see my cards are slightly overclocked here, but not by a tremendous margin. And here I'm going to take a baseline idle temperature reading. So I'm at 67, 65, 69, and 63 degrees on all 4 cards. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run 3D Mark Vantage along with a couple instances of Prime95 in the background. And the cat is moving the projector. Don't do that. Here, get away from there. Found a mouse. Well, it's not a real mouse. It's like a toy mouse. But here, go play with it over there. Okay, so yeah, those are my baseline temperatures. And we're going to have a closer look with 3D Mark Vantage running with a couple instances of Prime95 in the background. I think you will find the results quite interesting. The Jane Nash test hovers between about 900 watts to about 1100 watts. You can see she's getting in the boat right now. So it's sitting at about 1000 watts from the wall. And this one, there's kind of a funny thing that I want to show you. Here, as the plane starts to take off, the fans ramp up on the video cards. Check this out. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or not. Happens every time in that particular benchmark. But the new Calico one is actually the one that I see a little bit more power consumption on. And while I'm waiting for that to load, why don't I talk a little bit about the heat output. This system pretty much instantly heats up the room I'm in here. So I'm just going to kind of stand in the center and look around so you can see about how big this room is. And you can pretty much forget about gaming with the door closed if you have a system like this. As soon as you flip the switch on some kind of 3D application, it gets hot. So you can see new Calico's already up around 1200 watts. I've seen this one peak as high as about 1300 watts. But just on the topic of heat again really quick here, I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on at the back of this system. So from here, I mean, I can feel the heat being blown out the back of this case. It's about like a space heater from a distance like this. And then even the heat pipes that don't have any active airflow pushing the heat away from it, I can feel it radiating off there at about probably 5-6 inches away. And even the stickers that are on the back of these video cards have been all peeled off just by operating for a couple days here on the weekend. So let me see what our power consumption's like now. Yeah, so we're sitting at about 930 watts. So basically the worst case scenario I've seen is around 1225 watts. Or rather, sorry, 1325 watts. So even like that, you're only actually pushing about 1100 watts DC. You've got about 400 watts to spare on this 1500 watt Silverstone Strider modular power supply. And I'm just going to exit the benchmark now so that you can have a look at the actual card temperatures. Now, understand this is a little bit of a warm room, but that's the reality of it, is if you're running these cards and you're not outside, it's a warm room. So you can see that we peaked around 87 degrees on the top one, 88 on the next one, 88, and then 90. So that bottom one, which doesn't have the proper ventilation slot, actually doesn't get that much hotter, but it does get a couple degrees hotter than the other cards. So thank you for checking out my series of videos on the GTX 480 4-way SLI. I'm going to go ahead and tear this system down now, but it was definitely fun, and maybe I'll play with it a little bit more before I completely tear it apart. Oh yeah, one other thing I wanted to say. Right, with that 400 watts of extra capacity, this is a pretty bare bones system. I've only got 3 DIMMs of memory in here. I haven't got any hard drives. I'm just running like 1 SSD. So you throw like, 5 or 6 hard drives in there, a couple optical drives, some more RAM. You're still going to be quite comfortable. But this system is like, I wouldn't even use a 1200 watt power supply to power this. Anything less than the Silverstone Strider 1500, which is one of the only such power supplies on the market, is pretty much what I'd recommend. And that was a big part of the reason why I asked Silverstone if we could feature them in this video, or in this series of videos. So thank you for checking them out, and now I'm actually done. And yeah, obviously in any warm area there's bound to be cats lurking about.